My name's James Feaunati. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Spell my nose. I've been nervous. Name's James Feaunati, 34 years of age, full Samoan, born and bred in Wellington, New Zealand. I've always grown up in a hard life, hard family, with a lot of struggles and seen a lot of crazy things growing up. And I've always been brought up in a family that loves sport. Yeah, now I've moved here to Australia, Brisbane. So, Reap Fitness was established in 2015. I've always grown up playing sports and playing rugby league and athletics and all of those kind of things growing up. Not long after we had our first son, our miracle baby in 2013, I was in a very bad state then in terms of health. I just let go, put on all this weight, got depressed. I turned to alcohol and drugs and things like that. And I just quit my job on the spot back then in New Zealand and just jumped on a plane. And I moved here to Brisbane, lived with my family and, started to, just let loose and try to recap and reset my whole mind again, my whole purpose and all of those kind of things. And, we started a community training group, Obese, with my brother and a few other big boys as well, just to help me get back on track. And through that group we had at the time, I found a passion, not just for training again, but I also found a passion to become a personal trainer and get into fitness. I've always loved going to group fitness classes back in New Zealand and then moving here and getting into community groups. So, I kind of found a passion, why don't I go and get my certificate done? Because during that whole time as well, I would be in so many jobs and I would just quit. I'd wake up the next day and just not go to work again and just dread getting up to go to work. I was so lazy. I was just so lazy. I just wanted to train all the time and not go and work. And then one day my wife enrolled me to go and get my Cert 3 and Cert 4 done. That was my turning point then was, I actually found out that, man, that was my passion. I would wake up every morning, get to the train station, go all the way into the city in Albion to study my cert and sit in the classroom. And I did that for a whole month straight. And that's when I realized, man, this is something I love to do. That's my passion. And as I started getting more into the training, that's when Reap Fitness was established. I started my one-on-one personal training in our townhouse, in the lounge. And that's where my whole training started, the business, and slowly moving into the park as you would, with my one-on-one clients and doing all the training there, different parks all the time, and slowly, as you would as a personal trainer, move into commercial gyms and be trainer there and run little group classes and moving around to church, using our church building for classes. Throughout that whole time, I was just going back and forth to this moment now where I'm sitting here and more evolving into a strength coach now and being able to have our own facility, our own commercial gym. So it's been a good journey this long. So my hardest stage throughout my whole journey was 2017. That's about, just under 3 years while running Reap Fitness. I started becoming ill. I was diagnosed with a bowel illness called diverticulitis. That's where pockets would form in your large bowel. Basically, they just bursted, where abscess and everything just spread in my stomach. I got really sick, and as in our culture, being stubborn and all that kind of things, we're too shy. I was too shy to go to the hospital. I thought I could just stay home and hack it, and I did that for months, where I did get antibiotics. It masked everything, and then I'd get better again, and I'll start training. To the point I got sick again and then had to go back and forth, get more antibiotics. And I got to the point where I stopped going. I had enough of getting antibiotics, and I thought I'd try and fight it myself. And stayed in bed, was bedridden for like a whole week at home. I just hit this breaking point where I was like, literally, that was me. I was going to die that day. And I shared it with my wife, and we went straight to the hospital, got scans done, CT scan, and was diagnosed and found out that just had all this abscess. It just spread everywhere. That was the breaking point where they said they're going to have to, cut me open, have surgery, remove. They got my appendix removed, had ruptured my large bowel. They had to cut out a portion of my large bowel, and ended up with all these stitches and staples along my core. So it's like I'd lost everything throughout that time. I was in hospital for about a week, and I'd lost all my strength. Everything I'd worked hard for, I'd lost all my clients. The business was just pretty much stopped. Everything stopped. Training classes, I had to try and get my wife and some of our friends to try and get the classes going. But at that moment, I just felt very sick, where I got rushed back into a theatre one night. Everything just started leaking again inside my abdomen. Feces had spread everywhere, and I remember shaking one night. I just got really sick. My wife and one of the brothers was coming and trying to keep me warm. My son was there. As I was laying there, I just remember shaking. So cold. That moment, I was just waiting for my heartbeat to stop. And all I could remember is there's my son watching. All the nurses were around. Everyone was just gobsmacked. They didn't know what to do. I remember lying there, shivering hard out, so cold, and it was like those movies. You watch people die in movies slowly, and I remember laying there, and deep down inside, I just remember praying to God. Just telling him, I'm not ready. I was ready to go, like spiritually, I was ready to go, But I was like praying to God deep down inside. I was like, I'm not ready to leave earth yet. Please, I want to see my son grow up. I don't want my son to be fatherless. I don't want my wife to have no husband. I don't want my brother to be brotherless, or my sisters to have a less brother, or my parents to not have one less son, and all of those things. And I was just praying hard out, going, oh God, please, please, please help me pull through. I don't want to go yet. I'm not ready. I still have unfinished business here on this earth. Got rushed into surgery that night. Everything was complicated, and it was hours and hours of complications, surgeries. I was in a coma and all of that thing for a few days. And as I recovered, that's when my wife and all the nurses tried to explain to me that I was now an ostomate. I didn't know what an ostomate was at the time, until they tried to explain that from all the surgeries, I'd woken up with a bag, a stoma bag, which is also known as an ileostomy of the small bowel, on the outside of where all my food and waste was coming out of there. And then I also had a colostomy, which was my large bowel on this side here. I had another bag, and these were put on there to allow my bowels to heal from all the surgeries. And at that time, I was like, I'd lost all this weight. I'd lost about over 20 kilos. I was so small, so fragile, lost all my muscle mass, all my strength. Mentally, I was not there. I was trying to come to terms with these things on my stomach. You know, I was like, you know, growing up and being a trainer, it's always about image as well. You know, it's always about image. As being a trainer, you have that expectation that you got to look like a trainer. You got to be built. You got to be strong. You got to be fast. You got to be lean. And I looked at myself and I was like, oh, you know, I was just like, shit, this is not me. I hate the way I look. I don't like the way I look anymore. Yeah, that was my road to recovery, was trying to bounce back again. And my family flew over from New Zealand, had all my siblings here trying to encourage me, having my wife by my side every day. Everyone was, my family, putting up with my mood swings. You know, I'd have days that they would come and try to talk to me in hospital, and I would just be staring at going into la la land, staring at the ceiling. And they'll try and talk to me. I didn't even want to talk to anyone. And I'll have days where they'll come in and I'm more happy. And then split second, I don't want to talk to anyone again. I came out and started recovering and started going back to classes, you know, and I was like, do I still want to do Reap Fitness? You know, is Reap Fitness still for me, or should I just give up? I started going back to the training and just seeing everyone training again, all our Reap Fitness family, seeing everyone getting smashed, and training was my way of healing. Getting out of the house, you know, I had to get out of the house to stay busy. You know, as much it was like you couldn't scream, my core, I'd lost everything to the point I couldn't yell. I couldn't yell out. That's how much my core was gone. Let alone my spine. I came out with sciatica. My spine was out of place and had all these nerves and pinches and whatnot going on with my body. Yeah, it was just turning up to the classes all the time and seeing everyone training, and you know, to them, you know, they came to us for healing and getting fit, but they were healing me as well at the same time, and also just keeping my mind busy. And you know, going through a lot of multiple surgeries, getting ready, and this time round, you know, I had to do a lot of prehab and prep myself for more surgeries to come. At the time when I was recovering at home, you know, I was so lucky because my wife was still working. She was the backbone, looking after our family financially, and I was so grateful because that gave me the opportunity to stay home and recover. And at that time, I had my garage gym set up. I just newly set up my gym at home, a garage gym, and I had all the basic things in there. And you know, I was grateful, and I thank God, because I look at a lot of other people that would have went through this. They wouldn't know what to do. You know, they would have to go out and find a physio and, you know, things like that to try and help them mobilize and get strong again. And you know, I just thank God because I had the luxury of, I already had a bit of knowledge already. I already knew how my body worked better than any other person, any other health professional, chiropractor, physiotherapist. I just got up and walked into the garage, and sat in there. I would sit in my garage every single day. I would spend hours in there just staring at myself at the mirror and trying to realign again why I'm alive. And I would just start off simple movements with just a mobility band to try and pull my spine back. And I'll do that every single day. And on top of that, get to the classes just to get out of the house and keep my mind busy. And at that time as well, I was trying to struggle to absorb a lot of my food. So I had a bag for the ileostomy bag for 14 months. And in that 14 months, having no large bowel at the time, I couldn't absorb half of my food. I'd have to eat double, triple. I'd have to eat a lot of salty food, fatty food, you know, fast food like Macca's, KFC, all the stuff, you know. My family would be like so angry at me because, you know, I could eat all of this food and not put on weight. I guess that's the one thing I miss about being an ostomate, was being able to just eat everything and anything and not put on weight. So it was like, there were pros and cons of having an ileostomy bag, but it was tough at the same time because as you know, for any ostomates that are watching this out there, you have no control of your bowels. You have no control of your output, is what we call it. So it's like those 14 months, I would live being paranoid. You know, I'd always have to touch my stomach and hide my bag underneath my t-shirt and keep checking it to make sure it was full. If it was full, I had to excuse myself and find the nearest bathroom. If we were on the road and my bag would fill up, we had to pull over on the side of the road. I would have sleepless nights where I had to set multiple alarms during the night. I just couldn't sleep throughout the whole night. If I had slept through the whole night, my bag would just leak and have a big accident during the night, and I would stress out and yell out to my wife to help me at the time. And you know, this was for 14 months. I lived like this, not nourishing my body properly, losing a lot of strength, a lot of nutrients, lack of sleep as well, just getting up every 2-3 hours throughout the night. You know, it became a big part of me. I went back into hospital to remove my colostomy, and that didn't go too well. Went back and had complications, back into multiple surgeries again. I was bleeding, internal bleeding. They couldn't find what was wrong. They had a lot of packs and things inside there to try and absorb everything, and multiple bag transfusions and stuff like that, you know. And these are the kind of things you sit back, and I'm grateful for the people that donate blood. You know, you see it everywhere, and it's like, you think lightly about it, but you know, I thank God, and those people that donate blood, man, they saved my life, you know, and they saved my life big time, because I'd lost so much blood. And all my family, my wife's parents flew over from New Zealand just to help us and look after us, and you know, just seeing their face as well, just watching them see me in a different, like a vulnerable state, you know, like back home in New Zealand, they've always seen me as young, fit boy, you know, young, meeting my wife back in college. They've always known me as this healthy Samoan boy, and just to see them turn up and see me in the total opposite, seeing me in that way was another reason for me to, you know, fight and get back on my feet again and push through this other obstacle that I had to go through, because I went through it the year before, and it was like a repeat again, you know. And just seeing them fly over to not just support me, but support their daughter and their grandson, man, that was my whys to get back on my feet again and you know, be strong for them as well. And I just thank my parents as well. I call them my in-laws. They're also my parents as well, and just to see them there. And you know, and then I had my final surgery. So I had, all up, I've had 8 open abdominal surgeries. My final surgery was in September 2018, was my final 8th reversal surgery, and that was to pop my stoma back inside, reconnect my small bowels, and finally be bagless, have no bag, and learn how to go number 2 again. That was tough. In terms of the surgery was easy. It was keyhole, went in, came back out pretty much the next day, or 2 days later, from what I can recall. That was tough in its way, you know, not being able to go number 2 for 14 months, and you know, 14 months later, it's like, wow, I'm kind of like a normal human again. You know, learning all these things again, learning how to use those muscles down there to control everything. And I was scared and paranoid to the point I was like, oh man, this was the wrong mistake. I should have kept my bag. And you know, and I was like rushing and sprinting, shuttle runs to the toilet, you know, trying to teach myself all those signals, the signals that your brain's sending that, you know, you need to go, oh no, you've missed it, all of those kind of things. So it's like, it was a learning curve for me, mentally and emotionally as well. You know, and one hard part as well, you know, you see people in hospital in comas and things like that. That's one of the most scary things as well, is being in a coma. And you know, I've experienced what it's like to be in a coma. It's like you're paralyzed. I remember being in a coma, my family were trying to talk to me, and like, that's really hard. You can't explain it. It's like your family's trying to talk to you. You can't talk, you can't respond, can't yell out to them, you can't cry to them. From all they can see was just tears streaming down my face. And you know, and that's all I could do to respond, and it just felt like a dream. Everything was like a dream. I was paralyzed, couldn't move, and you know, my family's trying to talk to me and respond to me, and that was one of the most toughest parts as well. throughout this journey when I was in hospital was just can hear my family. You can just hear them yelling out and trying to talk to me, and you can't do anything. It wasn't until I woke up and everything, all those things came back, and I was thinking it was a dream, but it wasn't a dream. Everything was real. And it feels surreal when you sit here and think back and reminisce on those real dark moments. So as I start to build more strength, this was towards mid-2018. So after I reversed, they connected my large bowel again, I still had my small bowel. I still had my stoma bag. At the time in the garage, I did a lot of deadlifting, barbell work. So even prior to being sick, as being a personal trainer, I've always loved incorporating squats, bench press, deadlifts into all my programming for my clients. But it wasn't powerlifting at the time. It was more like I've always grown up loving those compound movements, because not many trainers prescribe that for their clients in commercial gyms, because they don't know how to control those movements themselves, let alone it's a high risk injury. So in my garage, I just remember doing things that I wasn't allowed to do. I was told I wasn't gonna lift more than 5 kilos again. And when they said that to me, I was like, that means I can't lift my little 3-year-old son. That was my drive, was like I was gonna use my son as an example that, I'm gonna defeat that, I'm gonna prove that it can be done, and I'm gonna prove that, man, I'm gonna do things that no one's done before. Just remember getting into the gym, and I didn't have to go to any commercial gym. I had the luxury of my own gym set up at home, and and it was just me in there. I'd have my own music on, and I just remember doing deadlifts. And I remember the stress of going back to starting from scratch again, from like a 40 kilo deadlift, and just building from there. With having a little bit of fear in my mind that I still had this bag on and I was breaking the rules. As each week went on, I started progressing 60, 80, then I started telling myself I need to hit a triple digit, I need to hit the hundreds. And as I keep getting stronger and stronger, I only deadlifted. I did a lot of deadlifts, a lot of body weight movements. I didn't really squat at the time or bench press, only because of the stitches and the wounds were real fragile. And I just had a fear. I had a fear of squatting, full stop. I just felt like my spine was gonna break. But deadlifts, I had a passion for deadlifts. I just found that, man, this was my go-to as well. So as I keep deadlifting, got stronger and stronger and stronger, until just before the reversal, just after my reversal surgery, I found a new form of strength. I started training with my family. We just started calling ourselves NPC, a Nutty Powerlifting Club. Even though we weren't powerlifters at the time, we were like wannabe powerlifters back then. It was at that moment we used to come together as our family and just start powerlifting in our garage. And it was that moment that I realized, this is what I love to do. This is what's helped me mentally get back on my feet. And since my final surgery, my reversal, I just found a renewed strength, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. And I really fell in love with powerlifting, and I felt like I was free mentally. I had been lifting in my garage for so long, but I always had a fear that I had this thing on my stomach the whole time. And just knowing that everything was closed up, it says in the Bible, I had my 8th surgery. In the Bible, the biblical meaning of the number 8 means a new beginning, renewed, it's a new beginning. So, I believed and knew that that's what God had planned for me all this time, 8 surgeries. So I knew, okay, new mindset, new goals. I was gonna be something no one else could be. I was gonna do things that no one in this world can replicate. Everyone's powerlifting. No one can powerlift and have 8 abdominal surgeries. No one can powerlift and have bowels removed from their stomach and go through what I had gone through and get as strong as what I have with all this journey. So I really fell in love with powerlifting to the point that I ended up competing. I've competed in 2 powerlifting comps now. the squat, bench, and deadlift. You know, I won both of those comps, my novice comp and my first GPC comp. And these are things I don't think are, you know, are things that you can't explain. It's supernatural. And that brings me to where I am now. So now, over this whole time, now I've evolved from being a personal trainer to an ostomate to now being a strength coach, a powerlifting specific. And everything that I've gone through is now I have my own gym set up. And now I'm here, sitting here as a strength coach, and sitting here as a strength coach where people are coming in with all sorts of struggles, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, relationships, whatever it is, and being able to sit here and coach them and take them through my journey and expressing what they're doing, what they're struggling through on a barbell. And we always say that one of our mottos is leave your struggles on the barbell. And now as a strength coach, I love what I'm doing and as powerlifting. And that's why a lot of people now see why we powerlift and the reason behind the barbell. Hey, it's not just coming in here. Everyone sees different online. People think we just lift heavy for the sake of it, for an ego thing, that it's look at me, I'm strong. But for those that know my journey, you know, there's a big journey behind why I lift. I'm a Christian. I love God, and I believe like my expression and what I do behind a barbell is an expression of God's strength, God's miracles. And this is not my strength, what I'm portraying. This is all God's work, what He's doing in my life and my journey alone. And and that's trying to help our people, our culture, and just anyone in general that walks through this gym, that it's not just an ordinary gym. It's more than a gym. This is our church. This is a place for healing mentally and physically. And that's why I love powerlifting, and I believe it heals the mind, and it does. It heals the mind and it breaks the mind as well. It's a feared sport. It's a thing the moment you see people powerlift, you straight away, you don't want to do it because you think you're going to break something. And that's why I love powerlifting, and I've turned to powerlifting because this is my opportunity for anyone that walks through that door to break their mindset and break the fear that comes with them, rehabilitate them at the same time, inside out. So it's so funny, the name Reap Fitness. Hey, so the word reap, I remember sitting at home, sitting in my townhouse, back in 2015, thinking of Googling and, what name could I use to create my business? And I came across the scripture in the Bible, Galatians 6, verse 9, and it says, "Let us not get tired of doing good, for at the right time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." That's the scripture. I thought, man, I'm going to use that. That's what my business is going to be called. That's what Reap Fitness is going to be. What you sow, what you put in is what you get out. It's like if you're trying to lose weight or whatever it is, get strong. What you put in, what you sow into your training, into your mind is what you're going to get out. And it's a coincidence that's where the name Reap Fitness originates from, because throughout those tough times in hospital, I thought about the scripture. I had to think about my business. I had to be the pinnacle example of someone that doesn't give up. That's all God. And I sit back and I think about it. It's like, man, this name Reap Fitness didn't just pop up out of nowhere. Something that was planned and designed before I was even sick. And is what's helped me bounce back, is the origin of where Reap Fitness comes from, of not giving up. If I was to give up during that time, every single member that had been training and been part of Reap Fitness is going to give up. So, I come here and I'm sitting here today talking to you guys, that I'm the prime example of what Reap Fitness is. And if I can lead the way and raise the bar every time, it'll just create a domino effect for everyone that walks through these doors to come in here. If they give up, my job and my duty of care is to help them break that mind and never give up. Keep going, whatever your goals are. If it takes you 1 year, 2 years, whatever it is, be resilient. And those are one of the key words, or a few words that comes to my mind with Reap Fitness is, I've learned to be resilient, persevere. All of these things that's made me what I am. It's my struggles that I've gone through is why I am who I am today. And that's what we want to share and with everyone that comes here and shares their journey with us at Reap Fitness. You know, it's my biggest impact I want to make on our people, and it's not just our culture. People come with the biggest excuses, man. It's like in our culture, you know, you come with the biggest lame excuses. I want to lose weight, I can't lose weight, I want to get strong, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you know, all of these people come in with these things, and I got a sore knee, oh, my back's sore, blah, 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 you know. And I just sit there and I have a laugh to myself, you know. It's almost like when people come with these things to me, I literally wish I had a bag of popcorn here where I could just sit here and eat my popcorn while they tell me about their little injury. That's the impact I want to make and have on people that walk through these doors, is I can sit there and say, I have gone to hell and back. The majority of people that have come to our gym, they come for rehab as well. And that's the impact I want to make on everyone that comes here, is that it's the power of the mind. You know, you can prescribe whatever workout, whether it's strength or cardio or whatnot, but over here we really focus on the mental health side of things. And that's what I want to have an impact on everyone, is how to beat the struggle or the battle that's going through their head, and, you know, them not believing themselves. And, you know, I really want to fill up this gym and just want people of all struggles and walks of life to come through here. And, you know, just be that role model and example of not giving up. It's not just a gym where you just come in, everyone's just gym members. Our gym members, they become family members, you know, and that's a big thing that I want here. They don't look at each other as gym members. They come here and become family members, and that's the impact we want to make here, and not just our community, but also in the business world here. And the competition is everywhere, and don't get me wrong, it's tough. It is tough doing what we're doing, but it's so worth it, you know, and we are who we are. We are Reap Fitness regardless. No one else can replicate and be Reap Fitness. And that's what I love, and that's what I want to have an impact on everyone that comes through these doors, is we are who we are. You know, you are who you are. You've been designed to be who you want to be. Don't try and replicate and be someone else or something else, or lift or run like someone else. And that's my impact I want to make here on everyone that comes through, is get them to release their full potential, who God's created them to be uniquely for them. And that's, yeah. So my word of encouragement, you know, for anyone that's at home, wherever you are watching this, you know, you've really got to know your purpose behind why you're doing what you're doing. I always say in my classes, intentions, you know, what are your intentions why you do what you do? Why do you turn up to squat? Why do you turn up and put time aside from your family to do something? What are your intentions? Are your intentions to be stronger than the other person's? Are your intentions to be fit? Are your intentions to compete against someone else? Hey, surround yourself with the right people, and, you know, you'll push through and get there. So, you know, if you're struggling or whatever, come down, contact me, get a hold of me, come down and visit us, and we're here to help. But yeah, most of all, like our scripture says, don't give up. Don't give up on your goals. Don't give up on your dreams, whatever it is. Entrepreneurship, whatever it is, trying to start a business, anywhere, whatever it is, starting a weight loss journey or strength journey, whatever it is. Be resilient. Don't give up. Know your purpose, why you're doing it. You know, you're going to have your days where one day you're feeling 100%. One day you just want to stop. You want to give up, but, you know, your purpose, find your purpose, your why, and your drive to what you're doing. No turning back, and, you know, you'll just keep going forward from there. So don't give up, stay strong, and you'll reap what you sow.